Um, bad news. Our friend Tim Carpenter, who has been in our studio many times over the years, and shared with you and me on the air, his struggle with the recurrence of metastatic melanoma, died last night. He's the co-founder of Progressive Democrats of America and an amazing, amazing fellow. And so I wanted to have a mutual friend of his on and just do a brief remembrance of Tim Carpenter. John Nichols is on the line with us. Hey, John.
It's good to be with you, Tom. It's unfortunate to be with you in this on this date, in this circumstance.
Yeah, in a way. I mean, it depends on how you think of death. I am of the opinion that Tim is in the light now. He's part of everything, and
I couldn't agree with you more. And I think Tim would be there as well. I don't mourn for him. I mourn for us.
Yeah, exactly. It's
we need him.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what funerals are for. They're for the living, not the dead. But in my opinion, and I hope when I die, people have a party and celebrate my life rather than mourn my death. And so let's talk a little bit about celebrating the life of Tim Carpenter and also the work that he started, that it continues. Progressive Democrats of America, pdamerica.org. There will be a gig going on the 10th of May in Northampton, Massachusetts, which is where Tim lived, or near to where Tim lived. And I'm going to be there. You're going to be there. Bernie's going to be there. There's a bunch of us who are Jim Hightower. Just to reboot that and remind people about that, you can sign up for that and learn more about that over at pdamerica.org. And that's also where we're going. I believe that's where we're going to be presenting Bernie with the 10,000 plus signatures in the petition that he run as a Democrat.
I think it's all in a little bit of flux on timing and things, because what had been planned in one perspective now moves into another. I think we all anticipated Tim would be there.
Yeah.
And now we'll be remembering, and there's a little change that occurs in that, I guess.
Yeah.
But yes, Tim had spearheaded a national drive to convince Senator Bernie Sanders to run in the Democratic primaries for President of the United States. Now, some of our Green friends and some of our independent politics activist friends have actually been urging Senator Sanders to go in other routes. And so, there was this, I have to say, this very good-spirited competition among different activist groupings following Bernie Sanders' indication that he might be considering a presidential run to draw him to one of the different routes.
Right.
And Tim was at the forefront of saying to him, hey, let's get into the Democratic Party, not to be overwhelmed by it, but to overwhelm it.
Right.
And
push the party to the left, basically.
Well, in fact, that's the best way as we talk about Tim Carpenter. And Tim would want us to have started exactly where we started on this conversation. But the best way to understand Tim Carpenter is that he learned a lot from Michael Harrington. Michael Harrington, the great democratic socialist activist of the 1970s and 1980s with DSA and other groups. Michael Harrington worked within the Democratic Party, but he said that he only did so, not because he loved Democrats or something like that. He did so because he said this is the institution that, by and large, a lot of voters identify with a set of issues. And Harrington always said that it was his job to seek the left wing of the possible, to go as far as it was humanly possible within our current political system to achieve progressive left-wing results. Tim Carpenter picked up that baton, and to a greater extent than I think anybody else, and I have immense respect for others who do similar work, but I think Tim Carpenter kept alive that vision. And the key to it is a set of principles. Tim Carpenter was willing to form a coalition with almost anyone, but he was never willing to form a coalition for almost any idea. The coalition he would form had to be for a progressive purpose. It had to be to achieve an end was progressive. And so what Tim did was make himself immensely useful as an organizer, as a strategist, as a activist, so much so that often political players who didn't always share all of his, radical passion for economic and social justice would still invite him into the room.
Yeah.
And once he was there, he pulled those rooms to the left.
Yep. And he did it very well. He started out, just some notes here that you sent me that some of the stuff I didn't even know. He was a teenage volunteer in Orange County for McGovern in 1972. He worked on the Tom Hayden campaign in 1976. He was a member of the Catholic worker movement, homeless activist sleeping on the streets. He was part of the anti-nuclear movement, closing plants, and close to Jackson Brown and Bonnie Raitt on the whole disarmament thing. The Jesse Jackson Rainbow Coalition. He was on the 88 campaign staff. He was on Jerry Brown's staff and a strategist in 1992. He was, throughout the 90s and the 2000s, a key player in a variety of anti-war and anti-militarism coalitions. He was the deputy campaign manager for Dennis Kucinich in 2004. He was the co-founder and national director, of course, of PDA, Progressive Democrats of America, pdamerica.org, the champion of the inside-outside strategy, and a key ally of the Congressional Progressive Caucus. I would say he was even, one of the people who really helped pull that caucus together and whip it into shape. I'm not a big fan of the great man theory of history. On the other hand, occasionally really extraordinary people come along, and Tim is one of them. What's going to fill this void?
Well, I read a pretty good column today by Thom Hartmann with the wonderful closing line, "Tag, you're it."
Yeah, but I'm not gonna run Progressive Democrats of America.
You, but I'm saying that core message that when you have somebody like this, the only way you really honor him is by a lot of people picking it up, right?
Yeah.
And taking it on. But I do think that folks who are listening, who may not have known Tim or only knew him briefly through the great forum that you gave him over many years, they should understand, if you met Tim, nothing about this guy said great man. Nothing about him said, rock star, the smartest guy in the room, the best strategist you'd meet, the most determined organizer. He was those things very, very often. That was the case. But Tim Carpenter's genius, and this is an important thing to learn, was that when he walked in the room, if there was a presidential candidate there or if there was a rock star there who knew Tim Carpenter and who respected Tim Carpenter, if he heard there were, 8 young activists who'd just shown up, driven, from a couple states over to attend the event, and they were sitting over in a corner drinking Cokes, he would go sit down with them.
Yeah.
And because to him, what mattered was to go into a room that had 100 people in it, 50 of them committed, 25 of them interested, 25 of them just dragged along by a friend. He wanted 100 committed activists to come out of the room. And so he focused on the newcomers, the people on the edges of things. And I want to tell you something. There are people who are activists today who in many cases have been activists for 20, 30 years. They never thought they were going to be activists. They were drawn in by Tim Carpenter. Yeah. And the way that they were drawn in was because he made them understand that they could be a part of this thing. Yeah. They didn't have to be perfect. They didn't have to know everything. If they wanted to get engaged on issues of economic and social justice and peace, Tim was ready to pick them up. He'd get him in his beat-up car. They'd play Dylan on the stereo. They'd head to the next event, and he'd go out and make something happen.
There you go. Hang on just a second, John. We're going to get stepped on.
This is the Thom Hartmann Program.
John Nichols, Washington correspondent for The Nation, thenation.com, about Tim Carpenter, pdamerica.org. Thank you, John.
It's an honor to be with you, Tom.
You too.